All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Haloyam Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakah Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, now what I want to get into today is seed oils. All right, because not too long ago I did a video on seed oils. This video you see here on my channel, if you go to the search bar and you type in seed oils, this video will come up. All right, it's titled vegetable/seed oils lead to a deadly outcome, and I went into a book called Toxic Oils. All right, and it talks about how destructive and how poisonous and deadly seed oils are. All right, so I want to do a part 2 on it. All right, because eating healthy, all right, and eating good, all right, and having the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the herbs and spices that the Lord gave us. This is part of the wisdom and knowledge. This is part of the truth, man. All right, this is the type of wisdom and knowledge and understanding that the true prophets and the true servants of the Lord will have, man. All right, because true medicine is of the earth, man. All right, and knowing not to eat and what to eat, that's part of the wisdom, man. You know, these canola oils, these, all these seed oils, these vegetable oils, these harm and poison us, man. All right, so we are not to eat things like this, man. Like Apostle Gabar says, if you want to be here to serve the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and do this work, man, we are to make sure that we are healthy, man. All right, matter of fact, let's get 1 Corinthians. Let's get 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. All right, no, 3 and it's 1 Corinthians 3 and I think around the 16th verse. All right, yeah. All right. 1 Corinthians 3 and 16, it says, know ye not that ye are the temple of the Most High? Yeah, our bodies, we're the temple of the Most High, man. All right, so we are to take care of our bodies, man. It says, and that the Spirit of the Most High dwelleth in you. If any man defile the temple of God, which is your body, right, him shall the Lord destroy. Him shall God destroy. So we are to take care of our temples, man. All right, we gotta do as best as we can, man. So we gotta gain this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. This is part of the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. You can't claim to be a servant of the Lord and not have any wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the herbs and the spices, the medicines. Some men are they teach about the herbs and the spices, the medicines. They do videos on medicines and herbs and spices, minerals and vitamins on that, man. Some of the prophets and the servants of the Lord, man, they get real deep into it, man. But anyway, let's go back into this book. So this book is called I don't know what just happened here. I'll show you the cover real quick. All right, it's called Toxic Oil. All right, why vegetable oil will kill you and how to save yourself. Yeah, vegetable oil, seed oils. All right, sunflower oil, canola oil, all these types of oils, man. All right, so what I want to do is get into this one page. All right, starting where was I at? Starting right here, fried foods, man. All right, so let's read it, man. All right, because when you go out to a restaurant or a fast food, you shouldn't be eating that. No, you should be, bro. Come on now. It's 2025, bro. You know how stupid and simple you have to be to eat at a fast food joint? Are you freaking brain dead? And do you lack that much wisdom and knowledge that you eat at a fast food restaurant? Especially like McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A. You know? Sonics, whatever, all these fast food joints, bro. How stupid you still gotta be in 2025 to eat there, man? Do you not know that this stuff kind of food destroys you, man? We're in 2025. All types of wisdom and knowledge and understanding is on the internet. We're living in the age of information. How the hell you still eating at places like that, man? And don't get it twisted. I'm not perfect, man. I don't eat at fast food restaurants. I might, eat some junk food here and there, but I know that's bad, and I gotta push myself to do better, man. But we're not ignorant of these things, man. Stay away from sugar, seed oils, because it's in everything, bro. Everything it's in the bread, all the junk food. Come on, man. Every time I watch a video of Apostle Gabar, doing a lesson about foods and seed oils and health and all that, it makes me want to do a video on it. So that's why I'm doing a video on it, because I'll be watching his videos. So let's just get into it, man. As you see right here, at the top it says toxic oil, fried food. All right, so it says takeaway deep fried food contains large quantities of oil. Whew. Large quantities of oil. This is why you can't be going to those restaurants, man. Those food restaurants, because they drown your food in seed oils, man. Canola oil. They use all these cheap, the cheapest, most destructive oil they could find to harm your body. They cook it in, man. They're not using things like beef tallow or ghee, avocado oil, coconut oil. They use canola oil, man. Cottonseed oil, stuff like that, man. All right, fried food. All right, it says takeaway deep fried food contains large quantities of oil. And it's now almost impossible to buy a deep fried food in Australia cooked in anything other than seed oil. And that's how it is in America. All right, because if it's bad in Australia, imagine America. Because America has the most vile, the most profane and poisonous food in all the earth. If you want to die fast, bro, from eating, move to America. Like they say, all that glitters ain't gold, man, because the food might taste good, it look good, it's seasoned well, but it's doing more harm than good. You're digging yourself to a fast way to the grave, man. That's why the minds of the people of America, they're all bugged out because of the food they're eating. They're literally complete zombies, man. I've been going into another book called Population Control by Jim Marrs. All right, which goes into all the ways Esau, Edom, all right, starting with the elite banking families, they go about, it goes into all the ways they go about depopulating this earth. And it goes into the food supply, the water supply. It goes into the GMOs, the chemtrails and all that. Watch those videos I've done about GMOs and going into the food supply. It literally tells you that the food makes the people brain dead and that they become zombies, man. Hordes of zombies. And they do that to keep the people docile, to keep the people brain dead and distracted from what's really going on, man. From the fact that the elites are trying to create a new world order. Because till this day, there's still people that don't know that, man. That have no idea what the hell is happening, what's going on, man. You know? Brain dead is all hell, these people. All right? So again, starting at the top, it says, take away deep fried foods. Deep fried food contains large quantity of oil, and it's now almost impossible to buy a deep fried food, all right, in Australia cooked in anything other than seed oil. And that's how it is in America. All right. It says this is a result of the interventions by the Australian Heart Foundation described in Chapter 1. The big branded fast food joints such as McDonald's and KFC use canola / sunflower blends, but even the corner fish and chipper is likely to be using vegetable oil, which is seed oils. All right, you see, so that's what they're doing in America. It's not just Australia. All right, it says in the flash outlets, all right, vegetable oil usually means cottonseed or canola oil. In the not so flash, it's likely to be blended oils, all right, usually, bro, in the process these oils go through. I went out like the last video I did, this video right here I showed you. Watch this video, man. All right, great information is brought out in this video, man. All right, I labeled it vegetable / seed oils. All right, lead to a deadly outcome. Watch that video, this video right here. All right. You know, they bleach it and all the oil, they bleach it, they put all, goes through all type of chemical processing, bro. It's crazy, bro. All right. So it says in the flash outlets, vegetable oil usually means cottonseed or canola oil. In the not so flash, it's likely to be blended vegetable oils, usually a blend of cottonseed, canola, or sunflower oil. A dead giveaway is a proudly displayed sign saying something like, our food is fried in cholesterol-free oil. Seed oils do not contain cholesterol. All right, yeah, so they try to make it sound good, cholesterol-free, but it's still seed oils. It's still deadly as hell. All right, it says seed oils do not contain cholesterol. They don't contain asbestos either, but that doesn't make them healthy. Yeah. All right, let's keep reading. It says my local fish and chip joint doesn't publish the fat content of its foods, but McDonald's does. Before the intervention of the Australian Heart Foundation in 2004, Macca's fries contain barely any seed oil and so barely any polyunsaturated fats. A large serving would have you consuming just under 1 gram of the stuff, but now that same serve of fries will deliver 7 times as much of the fat that is the very worst for your health. All right. You will blow your daily allowance on polyunsaturated fat and then some with just 1 large serving of Macca's fries. All right, and I think that's what they call McDonald's in Australia, Macca's. All right, it says before 2024, you could have eaten 6 large servings of fries and still been within your daily polyunsaturated fat limit. All right. It's a lot more than fries that get dunked in the fat at McDonald's. Here's a list of foods that contain at least 1 element that is deep fried and therefore high in polyunsaturated fats. And like I said, bro, you have to be freaking retarded, bro. You have to be retarded, bro. You have to be fucking stupid, bro, to be eating at McDonald's or anywhere else, fast food, Burger King, Sonic, Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, you know, name a few other fast food joints. You know? Come on, man. You know what does Five Guys cook their fries in? All right, peanut oil, I think it is. You know? All right, it says here's a list of foods that contain at least one element that is deep fried and therefore high in polyunsaturated fat. The McChicken, the chicken and cheese, crispy chicken salads, burgers and wraps, Filet-O-Fish, chicken nuggets. All right, the chicken McBites, you know, fries, hash browns, potato rosti. All right, apple pie. You know, then it gives you a list of all the foods that contain soybean oil. All right, it says, but it's not just fried foods that contain seed oil either. All right, the table below sets out the unfried foods sold at McDonald's that contain seed oils. The buns, right? So it shows you the buns, Big Mac sauce, the mayonnaise, the seared breast filet, the tartar sauce, mint and yogurt sauce. All right, the sweet chili sauce. Yeah, because all these things also contain high fructose corn syrup, which that shit deadly as hell, bro. You know, a lot of condiments contain high fructose corn syrup. That's another deadly thing, man. So all these things contain canola oil, soybean oil. You even got these so-called good foods, right? These fake ass good foods, these fake ass healthy foods they sell in your supermarket stores. They be having seed oils and vegetable oils in there, man. This is why you gotta read the packet, man. You know, it's supposed to be like a healthy bar you're eating, but it got some damn sunflower oil in it. It will say vegetable oil. You know, or vegetable oil blend. So it says these are all the other things, all right, that can the non fried items that still contain seed oils, man. Look, soybean oil, canola oil, unspecified vegetable oil, palm oil, you know, the Caesar sauce, the mustard sauce, the barbecue sauce, sweet, you know. Come on, man, you gotta be retarded, bro. All right, so let's keep reading. It says the amount of seed oil used in most of these products is quite small, but I have listed them to give you a feel for how persuasive seed oils have become in our food supply. All right, I'm using McDonald's as an example because they are one of the few fast food joints that publish detailed ingredient list of everything they sell. But it is reasonably safe to assume that similar ingredients are being used at Hungry Jack's and every other place purveying chips and burgers. All right, burgers and fries. All right, chips is in fries in the UK is known as chips, and also like in Australia, fries are also known as chips, and maybe other countries too. All right, so burgers and fries, man. All right, got all these types of oils in them, man. It says but it is reasonably safe to assume that similar ingredients are being used at Hungry Jack's and every other place purveying chips and burgers, and probably even those selling cakes and coffee. Yeah. All right. Starbucks is poisonous as hell too. That's not even real coffee, bro. They drown your coffee in sugar. You people don't even drink real coffee, bro. Real coffee is black, just straight black coffee. Y'all be dousing y'all coffee and all this sugary ass syrup and these poisonous ass sweeteners y'all be using. These fake ass half and halves. You know, these creamers. I'm talking about these creamers, bro. These vanilla these flavored creamers. Vanilla bean, hazelnut creamers, like those are poisonous as hell, bro. All right. It says until recently KFC, yeah, that's another one. KFC had been a viable alternative from a nutritional perspective. But in May 2012, even they announced that they were switching from Malaysian palm oil to Australian grown canola oil. They trumpeted the change as a victory for the health of their customers, not to mention the wealth of Australian canola farmers. But the ironic reality is that the science says they have achieved exactly the opposite. All right. Even the outlets that want the better part of your weekly budget for a burger are probably frying in canola oil. Yeah, because it's not about you, bro. It has never been about you. When it comes to any company, you gotta be a dumbass, bro. Look who runs this world, bro. Esau Edom, bro. In wickedness, you think the people are gonna be healthy? If Esau Edom is ruling, you think the people's gonna be healthy? The whole point is to depopulate the earth. They have an agenda to bring forth the new world order. The whole point is to depopulate the masses. And that's being done through the GMOs. They do that purposely through the GMOs. All the chemicals and drugs they put in the food. Come on, man. It says, where was I at? It says, the sad reality of fried food in Australia today is that unless you can locate some who's prepared to fry your chips in tallow. Yeah, tallow, beef tallow. All right, if you're going to fry your food in anything, beef tallow is the way, bro. Beef tallow, ghee. All right, coconut oil. All right, it says in tallow, lard, and we're going to do lard, that's pork, man. All right, or olive oil, just like they used to. All right, you need to give commercial fried food a great big swerve. Yeah, put that shit to the side, man. All right, so it says chips, which is fries. All right, so it says the alternative to never touching a chip again, of course, to make them yourself. All right, before deciding to avoid seed oils, I have never deep fried anything, all right, let alone with animal fat. Let me read that again. It says, before deciding to avoid seed oils, I have never deep fried anything, let alone with animal fat. But I discovered that it's easier than I thought. Yeah, all right. I acquired a pot designed for deep frying and some solidified cooking oil, all right, from the butter section of the supermarket. If you prefer not to use animal products, then olive oil is a good choice for deep frying. Extra light, you got to get it unrefined though. All right, unrefined. Same thing with avocado oil. You got to get it unrefined. All right, it says extra light has a higher smoke point and less olivey taste, but any will do. All right, you can also deep fry in coconut oil, but only if you use refined rather than extra virgin. All right, the smoke point of extra virgin is too low, but refined is bad too. All right, it says you got to get unrefined, man. It says and only if you have an enormous budget for chips. All right, it says after we use the oil, we sieve it to remove any bits of food, then store it in an old saucepan with a lid, all right, in the bottom of the fridge to use it again. All right. It says we chop it up and use it for dog treats once it's too dark to cook with. All right. I also got a hold of a device that turns potatoes into chips. All right. Yeah. All right. You know, the kind of thing you see demonstrated on a very night telly, of course, and of course a bunch of potatoes. All right. Yeah. It slices the potatoes into a bunch of fries. All right, and then you deep fry it in the tallow, man. And you see? All right. Then you get organic ketchup, organic barbecue sauce, whatever you like to dip your fries in, man. You know? All right, but I'll skip down. It says if you want to make life easier, you can buy frozen chips. All right, but the frozen, you got to buy healthy frozen. All right, organic frozen. All right, they are marketed as oven fried chips, but that's just anti-frying political correctness at play. All right, they are exactly the same as the chips that Macca's and every chippy purveyor is slinging into their boiling seed oil. They're not seed oil free. All right, it says, as I'll explain in a moment, but they're acceptable if you fry them in animal fat or olive oil. All right. Sweet potato chips. Yeah, sweet potato is fire, bro. Get organic sweet potato. All right, and eat that mug. All right, it says, don't be tempted by those healthy sounding chips. All right, so you got to get organic stuff. All right, don't be tempted by those healthy sounding sweet potato chips like McCain sweet potato super fries. They are now coming onto the market. All right, it says, not only are they relatively high in polyunsaturated oils. All right, yeah, you got to always look at the ingredients, man. All right, but they also have sugar added. All right, 100-gram serving of these little delights will provide you with 8.2 grams of sugar. All right, in chips. You know, like what is sugar doing in chips, man? You know, sugar isn't even in bread. You know what else is in bread? L-cysteine. American bread contains L-cysteine. You know what L-cysteine is or where it comes from? It comes from animal feathers and dog hair. And they put it in the bread. It only takes 2-3 ingredients to make bread, man. All right, eggs, flour, all right, to make the dough, and then you got the yeast. That's all it takes, bro. But when you look at the back of the loaf bread, when you go to the bread aisle and look at the ingredients on the back, it got like 10 different ingredients, 12 different ingredients, man. All right, sugar being one of them. There's no need for sugar to be in bread, bro. Canola oil, all right. Stay away from Pepperidge Farms, man. What's funny is that they make delicious stuff. All right, Pepperidge Farms, they make delicious snacks, but it's all poisonous, man. All right, on the back of all the bread that Pepperidge Farms makes, it tells you, it says that that this contains GMO ingredients, genetically engineered ingredients, and it tells you that the canola oil and all the seed oil is genetically modified. You know, it says here's the ingredient list, but you weren't bargaining to finding carrots in there. All right, so you got canola oil, tapioca starch, rice flour, potato starch, corn fiber, you know, carrots, dry, you know, sugar. All right, it says frozen chips are pieces of potato, all right, that have been debunked in a solution of dextrose and water, all right, to help them brown more quickly and stop them from sticking together in the bag. It says then pre-fried in seed oil. Yep. All right. It says obviously this is not ideal for us seed oil avoiders. All right. But because most of the fat is absorbed in the second frying. All right. Doing that final fry in animal fat means that we are significantly reducing the amount of polyunsaturated fat we eat. All right, when you refry it, man. It says not all frozen chips are cooked in the same seed oil, so be carefully reading the labels. All right, you can narrow your choices down to the least harmful one. To save you some time, I put some of the brands sold in Australia on the chart above. All right, the best choices are laid out over leaf. All right, deep frying the McCain Healthy Choice chips in animal fat will probably add about half a gram of polyunsaturated fat to the total. All right. It says while the total ends up being around half a gram of polyunsaturated fat more than if you went to the trouble of making the chips yourself, it is still off an awful long way short of the 5.3 grams you would get from 100 grams of McDonald's fries. All right. All right. And it talks about the hash browns, all right, of assorted frozen potato products. All right. I want to get into I've seen something before when I was skipping through the pages. Let's read this real quick. It says high oleic sunflower oil. It says as the anti-animal fat craze took hold in the 1980s, crisp manufacturers switched to soybean oils so they could claim their products were cooked in vegetable oil. All right. The problem with this is that seed oils need to be hydrogenated before they can be used for industrial frying, and hydrogenation creates significant percentages of trans fats. All right. During the 1990s, awareness of the dangers of trans fats was growing, and producers needed to switch to an oil that still allowed them to claim vegetable oil status, but did not need to be hydrogenated. Olive oil was too expensive, all right, which left palm oil as the only real option. However, there was nowhere near enough palm oil to supply all the producers than using soybean oil. But a solution was at hand. Russian scientists had successfully created a mutant species of sunflower. All right. Esau being Esau, right? You know, creating things that are not natural. All right. However, it says Russian scientists has successfully created a mutant species of sunflower that produced oil very high in monounsaturated fats and very low in polyunsaturates, all right, just like olive oil. Oleic acid is the primary monounsaturated fat in this sunflower oil, all right, and in olive oil, so they named it high in oleic sunflower oil. When you see sunflower oil on a crisp packet, it generally means high oleic sunflower oil, because cooking in standard sunflower oil would have produced exactly the same result as cooking in soybean oil. All right. It says crisp are the only supermarket product where you're likely to encounter this type of oil. Hold on a second. All right, let's keep it going. Says there is a large variation in the total of fat content of crisp. All right, some have about the same amount of total fats as hot chips. All right, while others have almost double that. All right, because the total fat varies a lot, so does the amount of polyunsaturated fats, regardless of what oil was used to cook the chips. All right. I want to get something real quick. It says chicken and fish. All right. Yeah, so for food that you buy at the supermarket, let me read this real quick. It says humanity cannot live on chips alone. So I've included some batter and crumbling recipes in chapter 4. Just buy chicken or fish fillet and crumb or batter them up before dropping them in the boil of animal fat. All right, that's one way, to fry your chicken in tallow, man. All right, tallow, man. Tallow, coconut oil. All right. It says, let's read, man. Let's read. Oh yeah, when you go into pizza, yeah, because pizza shops, they be doing, bro, listen. All these restaurants, bro, are just destructing, man. Like Apostle Gabar says, man, like, don't be eating out, man. Make your own food, man. Don't be lazy. Make your own food. Cook your own food. All right? It says, pizza, goes into the pizza. It says pizza shops don't deep fry their foods. So you'll think you might be on safe ground in there. But unfortunately, cheap, all right, seed oil has invaded their kitchens just as it has the deep fryers at the chip shops. All right. None of the major pizza purveyors, these main chain, Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's, Little Caesars, all right. It says none of the major pizza purveyors publish ingredient list for their food, but they will tell you if you ask. Pizza Hut gave me the following information with regard to their use of seed oils, all right. Soybean oil is used in the deep pan, all right, perfecto, Mia, thin and crispy and stuffed crust pizza base. The ingredient list for the gluten-free base simply states vegetable oil and doesn't specify the source. The pans on which the pizzas are baked are oiled with soybean. Yeah, all these poisonous oils. All right, the beef toppings contain canola oil. The chicken toppings contain cottonseed oil. The olives are drained from a mix of olive oil, soybean, all right, and sunflower seed oils. The beef meatballs contain canola oil. That's crazy, bro. The garlic bread contains canola oil. All right. So yeah, man, all these seed oil just is everywhere, bro. You gotta just eat meats, bro. Eat meats, fruits, and veggies, bro. All right, and cook it all yourself, man. All right, and use the right fats and oils, man. Coconut oil, beef tallow, ghee, butter. All right. Buy real butter too, man. Butter, it only takes 3 ingredients to make butter, man. All it is cream and milk. Yeah, so it says Pizza Hut doesn't publish the total polyunsaturated fat content of its products, but based on the published saturated fat content and a bit of educated guesswork, it's likely that the average classic crust medium pizza contains about 4 grams of polyunsaturated fat, all right, about half a gram per slice. You'll also be getting a smidge from the cheese and surprisingly a tad from some of those toppings. But I reckon you can work on the basis that if you eat an average adult serving, all right, you will have added 2 grams of polyunsaturated omega fats to your day. All right. All right. Meats and pies, sausage rolls. All right. All contains oils, bro. All right. You got to stay away, bro. Everything, bro. Everything. Even Asian foods. When you go to the, like it says right here, Asian foods. When you go to your Asian spot, it says most of us encounter Asian foods at our local corner restaurant. The food is usually cooked according to the whim of the owner, and the nutrition content is not measured or published. This makes it almost impossible to provide guidance on what to eat in the same way that I have elsewhere. But I'll give it a go. All right, yes. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. These Chinese restaurants don't know nothing about they don't post no nutrition facts. You think they tally that up? They don't know nothing about that, man. All right. Come on, man. All right. So just, going into this book a little bit. You know, you got to stay away from those fast food restaurants, man. Try your best to cook your own food. All these restaurants, fast food and any other type of restaurants. It ain't got to be a fast food restaurant. When you go out to eat, you know, to grab a burger and some fries and stuff, what do you think they cooking your food in, man? Destructive seed oils, man. All right. In major cities like New York and certain towns, they got you could Google it. Google seed oil free restaurants. All right, they got a whole bunch of them in New York. You know, I Googled it one time. They got a couple in New York. They got like 5 or 6 in Manhattan. 4, 5, 6 in Manhattan. You know, Times Square type. You know? So, you know, you could go to those restaurants. Mexican food. All right? So there's just seed oils everywhere, man. You know, they got they got all types of seed oils lined up at the supermarket, you know, for you to cook in, for you to buy. You could cook your food in. Nah, stay away from those, bro. All right, destroys you all hell, man. All right, so you know, that's it, man. You know, I hope, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. You know, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Ratazad, this lesson is edifying, man. You know, so, you know, like I said, man, all these restaurants have seed oils in them. Cook your own food, man. Don't be lazy. Buy your own food. Cook your own food. Buy organic spices. All right? Do your best, man. Do your best, man. All right? That's all you got to do is do your best, because we all trip up. I ain't saying like I'm perfect, because I be eating bullshit too, bro. Be tripping up. I might relapse on some sugar real quick. But we try our best. We try hard, man. You know, you pray for the Lord to give you discipline, man, to stay away from those foods, man. You know? All right, because we gotta take care of ourselves, bro. All right, we're prophets and servants of the Lord, man. All right. So with that being said, until the next one, Shalom.